How's it going, everybody? Happy New Year and welcome to our latest combat tip tutorial video. As you all can see, today's video will be on the ever scandalous scoundrel Kano. Should there be any controls I say in today's video that don't entirely make sense to you, feel free to use this little conversion guide right here, and that will allow you to take whatever I say and convert it into any other controller for any other platform currently hosting Mortal Kombat 11. So here we are, folks, over on the cosmetic screen, and that is to show you that as of this video's release, there are 21 out of 21 finishers, all of which are currently unlocked, meaning today's video will feature 9 different brutalities. As you might expect, folks, we're going to be starting off with the Classic today, but if there is any particular brutality you're here to learn, feel free to hop on down to either the comments or the description down below, where you can find timestamps to help you skip to any of the brutalities I feature in today's video. That said, let's get started with the Classic. Alright, everybody, so as I said, here we are with the Classic. Now, in order to do this one, you want to make sure that you do not block an attack during the final round. And just to clarify, the final round is whatever round you as a player are going to be victorious on. So that can be round 2 or 3, just whatever one you are going to win on. Make sure not to block before we're going to do this. Next up, when you actually do go to perform this brutality, the move you want to use is the uppercut, which is down Y or down triangle, depending on your respective controller. And while you do that uppercut, make sure to hold either Y or triangle during that ability. Let's show you guys what this should look like. Alright, so as I said, an uppercut, down Y or down triangle should look like this, and then boom. That right there, very traditional. You've probably seen it before, folks. So here we are, folks, on round 2, and just to clarify, when it says not to block an attack on the final round, you can hit the block button should that be an accident. Just make sure you do not block an actual attack. Do not take damage while in the block stance. It's okay if you do this by accident, try not to. I understand sometimes reflex can make it happen, but just to clarify for those who do it by accident and think they've failed, you have not officially failed until you've actually taken damage while blocking. Alrighty, folks, we're moving in for that final strike. One more reminder, make sure not to block during your final round. It's okay if you hit the button by accident, just don't take any damage. And then you want to make sure to finish the opponent with an uppercut, which is down Y or down triangle, and make sure to hold either Y or triangle during that uppercut. Let's go for it, folks. Woo! Pop. Easy enough, folks. I mean, it's called the Classic for a reason. Every character has it, and it's very nostalgic if you've played the old games, but hey, on to the next one. Alrighty, folks, so next up we have the Sorry Mate brutality. Now this one's very straightforward. All you have to do is finish your opponent with a towards throw, and while you're doing that, you want to push forward 3 times during that animation. Let me show you what this should look like. Now, there's 2 ways to do a throw depending on what you're more comfortable with. The way I like to do it is just to tap L1 or the left button, depending on your respective controller. And there we go, we have a throw. The more arcade-style traditional way you can also do is square into X or X and A on your respective controller. And again, you will get a throw. Now, do note, those were back throws. If you just do the throw by itself, without any direction, it'll always be a back throw. In our case, we want to do a forward throw. To do that, very simply, push your respective throw combination and just be moving towards the opponent. So there we go, folks. I just tapped L1, walking towards the opponent, and that is what our forwards throw for this particular brutality should look like. Easy enough, folks. Alrighty, folks, so we're moving in for that final strike here. All we have to do is finish the opponent with a towards throw and push forwards 3 times while that animation is happening. Let's go for it, folks. 1, 2, 3, and there we have it. Oh, little neck snap there. Twice snapped, if I do say. Not the craziest, but that has yet to come yet. For the we see that a little bit later with some of Kano's moves. Don't you worry. Alright, everybody, so next up we have the Not Looking Good brutality. This one is also very straightforward. Just like our last brutality, we're going to finish the opponent with a throw, but in this case, a back throw. And while that is happening, we want to hold down. So let's go ahead and show you what this should look like. As I said in the last brutality, you guys, a back throw, super easy. You don't even have to push in any direction. In my case, I'll just tap L1. Could be left button for you. Or you can push square and X or X and A. And again, a back throw. Very straightforward, folks. Alright, everybody, so let's move in for that final strike. And again, all you have to do is defeat the opponent with a back throw and hold down during that animation. Let's go for it. Oh, crack. All right, we're getting better. We're getting better. I like that one. That's a nice one. It's very fluid. It's very fast, and it really doesn't have any requirements other than holding down during the animation. So it's a pretty good one to pull off, I think. Alright folks, so next up is the spine adjustment brutality, and in order to perform this one, you want to make sure you have the lumbar check in your arsenal, so do have that set up before you go to perform this one. Once you've got that all set up, all you really have to do is make sure to finish your opponent with an amplified lumbar check, and while that's happening, push down 3 times very quickly. Let's show you guys what this should look like. Alright everybody, so a normal lumbar check can be performed with down, back forward Y, or down, back forward triangle, and that should look just like that right there. However, in our case, we want to use the amplified lumbar check to finish the opponent, which means we want to use down, back forward Y, right button, or down, back forward triangle, R1, and that should look just like that right there. You'll notice the knives will come out of Kano's boots and go up into the opponent's back. Let's show you guys that one more time. Right there. If you get that animation, you know you got this working. Alrighty folks, so when you're ready to move in for your final strike, you just want to use an amplified lumbar check, and while that animation is happening, make sure to push down 3 times very quickly. Let's move in for that final strike here, folks. Here we go. Oh! That's a very good one, if you ask me. I love the acrobatics involved with that, and just how violent it is. You know, I don't really. Kano plays that scoundrel role very well, even with those just knives clacking out of his boots. That's such a assassin or like thief type trait. So I don't know. I love it. Very well done. On to the next brutality. Alright everybody, so next up is the trapped Wallaby brutality, and this one will require that you have the biomagnetic trap in your arsenal, so please do make sure that's all good and set up if you want to perform this brutality. Alright folks, so this one's a little confusing. Let me hop right into the description and then we'll get right into the example. The final hit must come from the biomagnetic trap, and in order for that to work, you must have a blade stuck in the opponent during the biomagnetic trap. So let me get right into this and show you what this should look like. Now, as I suggested earlier, in order to actually do damage with a biomagnetic trap, you have to have a blade sticking out of your opponent. So here we go. Let's throw down one of those traps and then put a blade in the opponent. And as you can see, that blade is now glowing, drawing blood from our enemy. So one more time, you guys, biomagnetic trap. And there we go. Throw a blade in. Not only does the blade do damage, but you can see we have tick damage happening on the top right up there. Boom. And they just slowly bleed out. So this is how we're going to get our opponent to perish. So here we go, folks, moving in for that final strike. One more reminder, make sure there is a blade sticking out of your opponent after you throw down the biomagnetic trap, and that should pull the blade down and finish your opponent. Let's go for it, guys. Throw down our trap, throw in our knife, and oh, there we go. Oh. I'm not even entirely sure what's going on there, but the crunching and the snapping, it just doesn't sound comfortable. I imagine that the idea is that the blade being in her body is just cutting and forcing her down into the ground at that point from loss, but I don't know. It looks cool, but I just wish it was better understood. But that's definitely one of the more confusing brutalities I've heard people trying to figure out, so hopefully you guys got the idea from this tutorial. On to the next brutality. Alrighty folks, so next up is the brutal blade brutality. Very easy, very straightforward. All you have to do is make sure your final hit comes from a blade toss, and before you actually do that, make sure your opponent has been hit with 5 knives, which can of course come from the blade toss move itself. Let me show you what this should look like right now. So the blade toss, folks, very famous move, back forward X or back forward square. And there we go, that is 1 blade. There's 2, there's 3, there's 4, and of course, there's 5. We now have our requirements complete. Let's move on to finish our opponent. Alright everybody, so we're moving in for the kill. Again, all you have to do is hit your opponent with 5 blades at any points between rounds 1, 2, or 3, and then when you go to finish the opponent, make sure you use a blade toss, which in our case is back forward X or back forward square, and should result in that right there, everybody. Oh, that's a very nice one. I love the way they go in, and then the initial collapse makes them go through. I could be wrong, but it does remind me of the either a brutality, or not a brutality, a fatality rather, from Mortal Kombat 9, or maybe it was Mortal Kombat X. One of the more recent Kano fatalities seem to have a very similar aspect to that, so if that's a reference to it, I think it's a very nice way to transition it into its own short-term, but still right to the point ability. On to the next brutality, folks. Alright folks, so next up is the head case brutality, and this one will require that you have the rack off ability in your arsenal, so do make sure that's set up if you want to perform this one. As for our criteria, pretty straightforward. All you have to do is finish the opponent with an amplified rack off and make sure to hold forward during that animation. Let's show you guys what this should look like. Alright everybody, so rack off by itself is down back Y or down back triangle, and as you can see, looks just like that. It is a parry. See, the opponent is actually going to have to strike us. So here we go. Boom, boom. Easy enough. That is what the rack off should look like if the opponent tries to strike you while you're using it. Now this brutality wants us to use the amplified rack off, which is going to be down back Y, right button, or down back triangle R1, and that should look a little something like that right there. If you can make it work, the opponent will get a laser beam to the face, and you know you have the amplified version down. Let me show you that one more time. Here we go. Easy enough, folks. Pretty straightforward. Alrighty, folks, we're going to move in, finish the opponent. All we have to do is make sure to hit them with that parry coming from an amplified rack off, and while that animation is playing out, make sure to hold forward. Let's go for it, folks. Oh, beautiful. I love this one, you guys. This one was a little harder for me to demonstrate just because, again, whenever it comes to a parry and I'm trying to show them off, I have to control both controllers at once, so, you know, I apologize if there was a little sluggishness in execution, but hopefully you guys get the point. On to the next brutality. Alright folks, so next up is the Look What I Found brutality. Now this one will require that you have the Fig Jam combo in your arsenal ready to go, so please make sure you have that set up as usual if you want to perform this particular brutality. As for the criteria, the first thing you have to do is make sure to perform a mercy on your opponent, and if you're not sure what that is, I'll demonstrate it in a moment. And after you've performed that mercy, make sure that your final hit itself comes from the Fig Jam combo. Let's get right into it. Alright, so the Fig Jam combo itself is going to be YY, X and A at the same time, or triangle, triangle, square, and X at the same time. And that should look boom, just like that, folks. Very delightful combo. I love the way that looks. But onto our mercy. Alright, everybody, so a mercy is essentially the ability to give your opponent back about 20% of their health after you have beat them onto the finish him screen. Now, why would you do this? Because A, you know you're going to be able to beat them again anyways and just humiliate them further, or B, because a brutality like this one requires it. So there's 3 steps to performing a mercy. Step 1, you want to get to about medium distance. To me, this is about medium, but if you're not comfortable, you can also just get up against the opponent and do 2 back dashes, 1, 2, and that's just back, 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 back. Easy enough, and if you do that, you know right there, you're at medium distance. Step 2, you want to hold the flip stance button, and that is either going to be L2 or left trigger, and you know that works when you go boom. You can see every time you push it, you do a little dance in place. You want to make sure you're holding that at medium distance. Step 3, while you're at medium distance and holding that trigger, boom, we want to push down 3 times very quick. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Just like that, and once you completed that, once you go down 3 times, you can let go of that L2 button and your mercy should activate. Let's show you guys a real-time example of this. Alright folks, so let's go in for our finish him screen. Boom. We're going to go 1, 2, hold flip stance, 1, 2, 3, let go. And there we go, guys. It's very easy, very simple. Once you figure out how to do it once, it's really never a problem again. It's just a matter of whether the risk is worth the reward. Alright folks, now that the mercy's out of the way, we can move in for our final strike, which of course is going to come from that Fig Jam combo. Let's go for it, everybody. Oh. Easily my favorite one from Kano. It's just so badass and crazy. It's ridiculous, don't get me wrong. It's like, I don't think anyone could anatomically perform in one single motion, but damn if that wasn't both hilarious and brutal and amazing to witness. Gotta give them credit. They did good there. They did real good. On to our last brutality, folks. Alright, everybody, so our last brutality for today is called Bonzer. Now, this brutality will require that you have less than 30% of your health before you go to perform it. And once you have met their criteria, all you have to do is make sure to finish your opponent with a black dragon ball. Let me show you guys what this should look like. Alrighty, folks, a very traditional Kano move, back forward A, back forward X, and that should get you the black dragon ball. That's all there is to this brutality, and now we just have to get our health to 30%. Alrighty, folks, so as you can see up here, my health is just below 30%. You can go into the options menu if you'd like a more statistical look at exactly how much health you have. So in my case, you want less than 300 HP left, and we have 290 there, so our HP is ready to go, which means our final hit itself just has to come from that black dragon ball. Let's go for it, folks. Weaken up our opponent, back forward A or back forward X with less than 30% of your HP, and boom. Very easy. Now, I like this one. It's nothing crazy, but I do like that his most classic, at least one of his most notable moves, at least in my opinion, has a brutality attached to it. I can appreciate that. That all said, everybody, let's move on to our concluding words for today. Alrighty, folks, so as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate you guys, commenting on all the videos. This whole previous holiday season, I apologize, I really didn't put out too much, but it was really nice to see that there were so many of you who were really looking forward to more combat tip videos. I can promise you, this year, there are more to come, especially with both the Joker and Spawn DLCs on the horizon. I'm very excited. But, that all said, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave me a like or a comment down below. Both are very much appreciated. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, feel free to turn on notifications and subscribe so you can find out exactly when more content like this goes live. As always, folks, I really do appreciate you watching. Hopefully, I will catch you on the next video. And until then, stay safe and stay happy. Adios, everyone. We'll catch you next time.